Hello everyone, I'm just gonna wait a little bit until some more people are here. We're gonna take our time, and today I'm gonna be talking about tray 1 that I have here of all my tumbled stones. And I'm really sorry because I'm so nervous. This is my first video, so thanks for coming. I wonder if I can move this here. Let's see if you guys can. Oh yes, hello. I'll just wait a little bit and then I will do a little singing bowl session for you guys and then we'll start. So, if it's okay with you guys, I'm gonna put my phone in this beautiful Palo Santo bowl that I have just so. Alright. So give you a little I always think it's always nice to introduce each other and do a little session before we start, so let me just welcome you guys here. Thank you for taking the time to be here, and I hope that I am loud enough that you guys can hear me. If there's anything, please let me know. It's always nice to have in threes. Wonderful. All right. So I haven't gotten anything professional yet as a stand, but if it's okay with you guys, I'm gonna be holding my phone and we'll see how everything goes from there. So as you guys can see, I have some tumbled stone babies here, and today I'd like to actually just give you a little brief description of my first tray. I thought it'd be the best way to introduce myself since it's my first video. So, and actually if you guys want to see me, hi. Oh man, okay, enough about me. So and the background sound is actually, it's raining here. I'm in Montreal in Canada, and as you guys know, I have a little special that I'm doing. So all of the crystals that you're seeing, I wrote all the names down, and well, you guys can find me on Etsy. I have my website there, and my dad and I actually have a store here in Montreal, so you can, if ever you do take a little trip down, you could come see us. Alright, so let's see. So everything that I'm going to show you, of course, like I explained, they're all tumbled stones, and tumbled stones are polished stones that are basically kept to put on you, in pockets. Others, like myself, have them in bras, which is fine, right? If you also want to get into Reiki, right, if ever you're lying down and you want to practice, whether it's with a pendulum or just tumbled stones, you could place them for each chakra, right? So keep in mind that if you would like to select stones or keep them on you, I always tell my clients this, is that if you can, of course, when you pick out a stone, try and pick a stone with your left hand. And the reason why left is that your left side of your body is how you receive things. So for people who are interested in meditating, you would actually meditate with a stone in your right hand. So, of course, like I mentioned before, everything that I'm going to say is really more or less how I feel and the crystals of how they heal, right? So I would love to start off actually with amethyst, and I'm sure many of you know. See this beautiful guy? Sorry about my nails. So many people today are in love with amethyst stones. In fact, it's one of the most popular stones sold. I've always suggested amethyst as one of the beginner stones for two reasons. Either you've decided you wanted to start your spiritual journey since it helps with opening spiritual awakenings by opening third eye, right? But the color itself actually brings peace and quiets the mind. So you could stop thinking so much and finally get into meditation. But then there's also the second reason why I suggested. They can help with better sleeping. Now, a lot of people prefer, actually, I'm sure you've seen bigger clusters, sometimes even more darker, depending on the grade, right, where you're getting it. But it really depends on yourself. Like, for an example, for me, when I had some issues sleeping, I'd always carry a little guy. And I would always put him under my pillow. But I realized after washing my sheets and pillowcases, he had one gone, like, he disappeared, you know, and it's always be careful. So that's why other people do consider having a cluster near their bed or bedside table. That's always best too, right? So if you do decide to put an amethyst under your pillow, just remember that he's there, and don't wash him. So I think that would be a nice thing you could do for yourself. It will create a zen space since it will mellow you out, and then it would make you focus more to yourself and start finally into meditation, right? I think that's just a little first jump start. Sorry if I'm talking too much with my hands. Maybe I'll stop that if that's annoying, guys. Sorry. So for anyone who would like to carry little guys in their pockets or buy jewelry, you'll notice that you'll feel less nervous, less anxious. It really does help you feel more at peace, which is hard in reality, right, guys? I mean, there's a lot going on in our day-to-day lives, and, you know, speaking of the real world, if you'd like to give this to someone who's going through something tough, you know, amethyst helps through grief or loss. Or even if it's a person who has a hard time to stop anything that's a compulsive behavior. So, you know, a lot of people are getting into chakras, right? So I want you to think purple. Purple really relates to your head chakra. So anything that involves anything with mind focusing, but a lot of people who are struggling with a bad addiction problem or like smoking or drinking, if you want to stop, amethyst is really good to keep actually on you. I think that's a nice little gift you can give to someone, just a little push, you know? Okay, so the white quartz. All right, so let's get into the white quartz. White quartz, now when you look at it, it's white, pure, it has some different levels of grades, so you have to find a few who are more clear or sometimes even rutilated. Rutilated can be like angel hair, will have more lines through it, right? But with either one, I want you to think of white quartz as something that will heal. White equals healing. Many use quartz into the healing abilities, such as having them around the corners of your home. A lot of people are doing grids now. Or keeping them on you everywhere you go, you know? And now, the reason for all of these scenarios is that white quartz absorbs negative energy. So while you're at work in a different environment or at home and you feel that there's a need for cleansing or absorbing negative energy, or just maybe creating a fresh space or a balance, that's when the white quartz comes in, you know? So I want you to think of white quartz as being helpful into clear thinking, much like the amethyst. As I'm sure you've seen white quartz, whether it's polished or pointed, there are different faces. You know, some actually have points. Let's see if I have any ones to show you. Points are little babies like this here. Any type of stone that has faces on a pointed quartz will mean certain things. They'll absorb your memories. White quartz is very personal. I know for myself, I've used and kept only one, but I feel that it represents me, you know? Yeah, so white quartz is an all-around good stone for anyone who's, well, I want you to think of it as a shower, you know? Our aura, our energy, think of it as almost a mosquito net, anything that's going to be grabbing on to our energy. Like I said, if you're at work or at home, it's something that, anything that sticks, it'll clean that out for you, the white quartz. So yeah. Oh my favorite. Okay, rose quartz. So rose quartz here. The lovely, lovely rose quartz. So just like the amethyst stone, rose quartz is a very calm, loving style of stone. It gives you a feeling of self-worth, self-love, and healing. A lot of my clients usually come back telling me, oh, I've gotten a new job, I have a new love or a new friendship. But to be very honest with you, what the rose quartz will do, it opens your heart. You know, what happens when you open your heart, right? You'll see things differently. You'll be open to new opportunities or experiences, maybe even new people. Maybe you'll get that love, yes. Yeah, so it makes you see things more with an open heart, you know? It makes you love yourself more, and when you start to love yourself, you get to able to like love other things that are surrounding you, you know? On a personal level, as an example of myself, I've noticed unconsciously after different chapters of my life, I've always ended up getting a new rose quartz and keeping it on me. Whether it was the beginning or ending of a relationship, or finding myself after these relationships, opening my business. You know, for many years I was trying to find my biological father. So all these chapters in my life, I would naturally pick out another new rose quartz, and you know, and then I actually carried bigger pieces in my pocket, even a much bigger piece. I've carried in my bra for a long time, you know. It's funny that I could look back at this now. I think I was subconsciously making a decision to love myself after a long period of time, and that's why I truthfully think that the rose quartz is something to help build you to love yourself just a little bit. It's a nice little reminder, you know. So yeah, I think it's a wonderful stone to give to someone, whether they're going through something or they're a new mother, to give to a daughter or a sister, a friend, family member, anyone that you want to give love to, because you want them to love themselves, you know. So that's why the rose quartz is a real winner. Very good stone. Okay, so tiger's eye. Okay, so here we are, the tiger's eye. You have to be careful though out there in the world. Sometimes there are bad people out there, and you can get some fake tiger's eyes, so be careful. So I want to talk about actually the two brothers. So you have tiger's eye here, and you have its brother, I like to call it. That's a blue tiger's eye. People also like to call it falcon eye, which is fine. You can call them falcon eye too. So I have more of that. Let's see. Just a little bit more of a blue hint. I can give you a better one to see. This little guy. He's cute. So yeah, so let's just go to the tiger's eye first. It's known to be one of the stones that in the past, but in the present too, there are a few cultures that believe that this is a third eye protection stone, you know. So think of it as whether you're opening it slowly with amethyst and you want to protect yourself, the tiger's eye is a very good stone for that. So as an example, let's say if you're traveling, or even if you feel maybe even in a workspace there's tension, or you feel that your third eye is not being very well protected, you know, or I mean, sadly enough, it could be someone that's talking against you. You know, you can know the person or maybe not. It could be direct long distance of the evil eye. It will protect you. That's what's great about the tiger's eye. It has a lot of masculine energy. The color actually represents more or less the sacral chakra. So tiger's eye is amazing for if you feel like you're not creative anymore, if you're lacking to be more inspired. Generally, the tiger's eye is really more of like feeling the eye of the tiger roar, you know? Just getting more of that boost. For myself, as I was saying, for creativity, I had a second store actually with my dad. I was there for 3.5 years every day, and sometimes you feel like you lack, you know, like you every day doing the same thing. I love what I do. This is what I do. But things like making different papers or drawings, I felt like I wasn't being more creative enough. So on purpose, I would actually carry one of my tiger's eye bracelets the next day, you know, I want you to think that crystals in general is supposed to complement you. It's not a savior. It's not supposed to save you from this, but it's a complement. It makes you be more positive in thinking better, dreaming better, and so on, you know? I think everything in life has good or bad intentions. So I think that as long as you use it in a good thing, then crystals can definitely benefit you, you know? So I'm talking way too much. Okay. So, yeah, so, sacral, you know, like I was explaining, sacral for your chakras is where you hold your sexual energy. And your sexual energy, if it's blocked, you don't feel as inspired to do things. You don't feel creative. You're lacking that sort of push, you know? So that's very good for you if you would like to start to begin with that. And, you know, when it's blocked, it's basically feeling less inspired to do things, less creative. We need to be very creative as a person, you know, we're human. We need to be creative, expressive, sexual. We are still alive. We're not robots, people. So let's talk about the brother. Okay, so the blue tiger's eye, falcon eye, which I have yet to get a nice little oh, there we go. Hopefully the lighting is okay for you guys. So the Hawkeye or blue tiger's eye is mainly used for a lot of shamanic or spiritual practices. So for someone who wants to really open more the third eye, this is really a good stone for you. It's more intense though compared to an amethyst. This is really more foot in the door spirituality, and this is really moving forward into it, right? So it's more intense, yes, but it does help with lucid dreaming. It's for things like astral travel, clairvoyance. It's known for air travelers, but also connection with the throat chakra. Your throat is where you have expression, right? So it helps you communicate. If you honestly don't feel like you've always held something back, it could be with someone, it could be even with yourself, you know, it's a good stone for you. Very good. Or even if you want to do something for public speaking, which I am, maybe I should be carrying this. Very good for that, you know. It gives you more or less the feeling of motivation to do something without fear, you know. So it's very good. All right, so we're going to go now to labradorite. Labradorite, I'm sure you guys have seen. I'd like to take this little guy to show you. So a lot of them these days you could see more or less, they'll have a yellow or green, sort of like a blue or greenish tone. Sometimes it's a little bit, oh, there you go. And sometimes if you're not as lucky, you'll get, actually, this guy, look at him, he's very cute. Okay, so we're gonna stick with this guy actually. So labradorite, actually one of my favorites too. I adore rainbow moonstone, but I also adore labradorite, and I just love the reflection, you know, the colors in labradorite stone are so beautiful. So getting into a little higher into this spiritual stones, labradorite, it connects you to the emotional and mental body. So very much like the blue tiger's eye that we were talking about. It's used for psychic attacks. So let's say people, you know, it'll give you a sort of sense of like who's good for you and who's not good for you. And it's unfortunate, but it could be a family member or a friend, or it could be a stranger. you know. There are emotional vampires out there, and they like to be called, well, you can actually call them psychic vampires. These are the people who always tend to come to you, and they're so drawn to your energy, right? And in the end, they're always telling you, oh, I always feel so good with you. But in the end, at night, when you get home, you're feeling so drained, you know? So that's the best example of a psychic vampire. And the best way of protecting yourself, of course, is by carrying the labradorite. Maybe it'll give you that idea of who that person is, and you will end up protecting your aura, your energy. It's almost like a shield, you know, against these psychic vampires. You have to be careful out there. So for the next one, we're gonna go with this one, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. Let's see if I can show you a really good one, because for some reason I have a little black tourmaline guy in here. I actually go to the hospitals, and I have my little table, so sometimes I sell my crystals there. This beautiful piece is actually called Chrysocolla. Oh. Let's see. Here we go. So, Chrysocolla. A lot of people mistake this for turquoise, but it's a little bit more deeper, has more dark hues to it. Now, these stones are very new to me. None of my clients have personally used them, so I decided to do my research and keep them a little bit more closer to me. So, Chrysocolla, they are not so common, but with many, I think that you guys are going to tend to like this a lot more. I'm going to give you an example why. So, just like the turquoise family, the color represents the heart chakra, which is all about compassion, right? So by expression and communication, so Chrysocolla will help you be more mindful as you're expressing, whether verbal or by text message or even by email, right? Because we have all done this. We sometimes have bad days, and the way that we express ourselves sometimes towards another person is only because we projected our anger from the other day towards them. So I think that if you're a little bit more, I'm mean towards myself sometimes and to thinking, but if you wanted to just be a little bit more conscious of how you think to people, how you express to people, Chrysocolla is a beautiful stone to carry on you, just to be more conscious, be more aware of how you're expressing things, you know? Because, I mean, you have to remind yourself that every word in this world, it counts, you know? Everything still does count in this world, and you have to make sure that you don't hurt anyone as you explain, right? As you have to be mindful. So if you have someone in mind that would like to become a little bit more sensitive, a little more smoother when they're speaking, this is the stone for you. I think we can all try to be more mindful, especially on the internet today, the words that we say towards each other. All right, so my last one for this video is actually red jasper. So I have a few. So we have picture jasper. These ones are from Africa. And this one I have in red jasper. These are from Canada here. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, so the last one in the tray, like I mentioned, is the red jasper. So red jasper relates to the base chakra, which is the root. So that stimulates or helps with feeling more safe, more aware, or feeling grounded. Now for me, I continue to balance, or I try to balance my root chakra, but it's not the most easiest thing. I want everyone to know that there's no one in this world that has perfect aligned chakras. It just doesn't exist unless you're a practicing monk. You know, burning incense, chanting every 3 minutes, right? So it just doesn't exist, you know, and we all have day-to-day lives that tests us, and I think I need to remind you all that you are perfect right now. The reason for the stones to help you are just to complement you towards your goal. So your goal is to evolve as a human being and to focus on your spiritual path, right? So when you become aware of certain chakras that you need to work on work on them, but work on them slowly, guys, okay? Because I have a lot of people on the internet today that are buying the chakra pendants. Take your time. Be aware what you need to work on and slowly work on it. So now for me, I'd like to share more of a personal experience with myself, helping myself throughout building and balancing my root chakra. So when the root is unbalanced, when it's under, you feel unsafe, you feel unsure, and you have fear, you have anxiety, and you're not as stable as you used to be. And you know, this is not your fault. It can be because of a family upbringing, it could be by a situation, by a present moment that has struck you and has changed you emotionally. When things change in your life, you changed too, and your chakras change as well, and it's all transition. So I feel that the red jasper gives you more of the willpower to do things, to get out of bed and push. You know, when you were working with red jasper, it's very a slow stone, so I consider them more, I'm sure you guys heard of it, worry stones. Worry stones is more or less when you're upset and you keep a few in your hands, you know, you keep them. Emotionally, it can help you give strength and energy and allows you to become more centered and balanced. You know, all the stones are powerful in their own way. You just need to select a few that help tune yourself, you know? Think of it as an attunement. Yeah. And I think you'll be okay. So that's all I have to say today. I'm so glad that you guys came to find me, and I'm glad that I did my first video. It was nerve-wracking, so hopefully I did okay. I'm glad that we did tray 1. I will do tray 2, hopefully tomorrow, maybe. So the last thing that I want to say is thank you so much for coming, and all the stones that I showed, of course, they're a big special for you Americans, because here I am in Canada. So for US, any of the 4 that I have, it'll be actually $7.60 for you guys. Yeah, the Canadian amount is low. So if ever there's any that you have questions about, in the next couple days I'll show you and give you a beautiful description of why I use these guys, tray number 2, part 2. But for now, if you guys want to find me or to pay, Zen Travels is on Etsy, and that's actually my website too. So thanks again, guys.